cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for...
Goodness. Hey guys, welcome back to Critical African Thinkers. So today's video, I'm going to be reacting to an interaction that Ben Shapiro had with a certain trans woman, in which it turned physical, or almost turned physical. So let's get into the video.
Caitlyn Jenner honored with the Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the ESPYs. Did she deserve it? Was it the right choice? Here she was last night on ABC. Take a look.
All across the world, at this very moment, there are young people coming to terms with being transgender.
Joining me now in the audience, Shagun.
So I think this interaction happened when Caitlyn Jenner won the Woman of the Year award, which is, I mean, look at that voice that was coming out from that body. That was the voice of a man, and then she or he was a woman for less than 2 years or so, and then he's winning the Woman of the Year award. So I think they called this panel together to discuss whether or not she or he deserved that award.
Olowu, entertainment journalist, Zoe Tur, pilot and reporter who herself is transgender, and Ben Shapiro, senior editor, Breitbart News, author of Bullies. In terms of the science behind gender dysphoria, you're very familiar with that, Zoe.
Very familiar.
It's not about the chromosomes within our
both know
nuclei. Yeah, go ahead.
chromosomes don't necessarily mean you're male or female.
Gender.
With gender
Identity. Go ahead. No, so
especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what.
Okay, if the chromosomes don't tell whether someone is male or female, then what is the descriptor for someone or a group of people who have a penis, and what's the descriptor for people who have a vagina? I mean, there has to be a descriptor, because they are claiming that gender or sex are two different things. Okay, let us agree that gender or sex are two different things. That okay, gender is how you interact with your sex, but is there anything objectively like biological sex? And if there is so, what do you call those class of people who have a male genitalia and whose chromosomes correspond with an XY, and those who have a vagina and whose chromosomes correspond with an XS? What do you call those people? If you want to say male and female are not sex terms, they are gender terms. Okay, we agree, but what about the sex aspect? Is biological sex, is it also socially constructed? Is it something that people can decide on their own?
You're talking about. You're not educated on genetics.
Would you like us to discuss the genetics or
well, no,
what are
no.
your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for...
Goodness. Really? Wow. So did she or did he just threaten Ben Shapiro on live TV? No, I'm curious to see what happens after this. Is he or she going to be called out on this? Are they going to get away with something like this? I mean, this obviously is a threat, and she did put her hand on her name, and that is really inappropriate. Now imagine if Ben Shapiro had done something, however small Ben Shapiro is, if he had done something to this woman or this man here currently. I think the whole interview would have ended, and there would be so much uproar, and this would be taken as proof that trans people are endangered. They're in fear for their life, they're in fear for their safety. But almost anybody can be in danger, almost anybody can be threatened, as we've seen in this case. So I'm very curious to find out, how would the host of this show, how would he react to something like this? I mean, this blatant disrespect for another person's personal space and threat on national TV. I'm curious to find out what happens after this. So let's continue the video.
Political discussion?
No, you do hate. You're consumed with hatred. That is who you are. You're a little
You know
man.
me?
You're a little man.
Let's stick to the topic.
So another personal attack is a little man. This is another person. This has nothing to do with the conversation. This has nothing to do with the objective of the conversation. This is just pure ad hominem. This is just pure personal attack. He's a little man. He's full of hate. I mean, where do people get off this idea that if you do not agree with them, if you do not agree with their ideology, then it has to come from you hating them? It has to come from a place of hatred. It has to come from a place of bitterness. people could very well disagree on issues. For example, you disagree with Ben Shapiro Ben Shapiro on the trans issue. You disagree with Ben Shapiro that they are just male and female. You disagree with Ben Shapiro that biological sex is real, that gender is real, male and female. Does that mean it comes from the place of hate? Does it mean that you hate Ben Shapiro, that's why you disagree with him on those things? So I don't get these accusations of hate being thrown around when people having ideological differences. It might even be ignorance, but who knows? Why hate?
So that was not this first.
But I mean, that's okay. He can be whatever he wants. But the point is,
Right. That's what this is all about, isn't it?
it is. It is. But there's ramifications for hate speech. But the point is that
Now, I suppose that all these interactions happened after this woman or this man had threatened Ben Shapiro, and you can see that the host is laughing it off. He's being jovial. It's normal. Does violence, does hatred, is it a one-way street, or can it go either ways? Can it go both ways? I think it was really, really inappropriate for her to have put her hands on him in that manner and then threaten him verbally. And I know for a fact that if it had been reversed, however small Ben Shapiro had been, or he is, if he was the one that had done this, then it would have been another issue entirely. There would have been such blowback. But here we have someone, an obviously bigger and stronger person, threatening another person physically and verbally on national TV, and nothing happens. Nothing just happens. They just let go. Isn't this double standards? Isn't this the double standards that these people are crying about? You want rights. You want to be accorded the same rights as other persons, but yet you do not want to accord other people the same basic decency and courtesy. If you wanted to be treated with respect, then you should be able to treat other people with respect as well. And I don't think I've seen anything respectful in what this woman just did to Ben Shapiro. To threaten him, to insult him, to call him a little man, to say that he's full of hate. Oh God. Anyway.
let me finish.
Go ahead, finish, sorry.
Little boy.
It's not rude to say that someone who is
little boy.
Just
biologically
call
a
me
male
sir.
is a male.
You just
Someone
call
who
me
is
sir.
biologically male is a male.
Let's say that transgender is a illness. What's the goal of treatment then?
The goal of treatment would be to cure whatever.
Can't cure it. It's not curable.
Okay.
Lots of illnesses are not curable. This one has to not be curable. What's alcoholism? Alcoholism, for instance. What's the goal?
So the goal would be to allow people to live with it in an appropriate way.
Flourish, right?
Flourish.
Not to require them to assign to one gender or another, but to flourish, right?
Without imposing on the rest of society a necessity for fictionalized thinking. Okay, because that actually is a cost to society. I'm sorry, but my grandfather was bipolar, okay?
Yeah.
And he thought that the radio was talking to him.
Yeah.
They put him in a mental hospital. They did not tell him the radio was talking to him to allow him to live a better life. They put him in a mental hospital, and then they gave him lithium, which allowed him to live a better life.
So I'm not saying that Ben Shapiro's analysis of what to do with trans people is right. I'm not saying putting them in a mental institution. I'm not saying that is even right. But I think it's got a point that you cannot take something that is the exception and make it the rule and want to force it down the throat of everyone in society. And anyone who doesn't agree with it, that person is full of hate. No, it doesn't work that way. As much as people have to be accommodating of trans people, but also there is a limit to which you can impose your personal ideology on other people and just you want to be trans, go ahead, knock yourself out, be whatever you want to be, but do not hijack the language, do not hijack biology, do not hijack science and say all the things that we know about science for the whole of human history doesn't make sense. It's not correct. Everything is wrong, and this is the correct version. There is no such thing as there's no objective thing as gender. Gender is a spectrum. Sexual organs, are they also a spectrum? Well, that's the video. Tell me what you think in the comment section below, whether you think it was appropriate for that woman to have threatened Ben Shapiro in that manner, and if at all, if the roles had been reversed, if there would have been a bigger backlash, or if there would have been a negative reaction at all. So until next time, remain awesome.